Hero.
Hero.
Hey, good morning, you two. How are you doing today?
Great. Thanks.
I got to tell you something. I love Fired on Mars on HBO for the reason that somebody is finally giving us a true picture of the what if factor. If we're all going to move to Mars, what if?
Yeah, exactly. You think it's going to be this big, crazy thing, but you get stuck in another office.
And can you imagine being in a situation like that where your nearest job is still, what, 5 years away?
Yeah. I mean, we're not far from it right now, actually, depending on how things go with this first season.
When you put a show like this together, how does it come together? I mean, first of all, I look at what you're doing on this as being inventive in the way of a Lennon and McCartney or a Jagger and Richards. You guys are creating something that we're going to talk about it, and then all of a sudden the binge watch begins.
Yeah, well, the whole thing started out as an animated short we created back in 2016, and it was on obviously a much smaller scale, and it was really exciting to build it out into an entire season of television.
The show is so simple. I mean, you make it so real, and to me, what's involved here is the physical act of listening. We get to listen to things as the story unravels in front of us on HBO.
Yeah, we've paid a lot of attention. You know, you bring up sound. We hopefully really made something unique with the music and sound design and all that. That was something that we really paid close attention to. We had a great composer, Greg Gersten, that we were working with on this.
Is Jeff Cooper somebody that you really know?
Jeff Cooper's all of us, unfortunately. He's all of us. Somewhere, you know, he's this every man who he's a little too optimistic, and he gets his comeuppance.
Because I love the fact that you do the video call and where he's calling back home, and the emotion that I had during that was like, once again, it's back to that what if factor. What if it was me making that phone call to come home? Because everything I've ever read about Mars, we're not coming back home.
It's a one-way trip.
Yeah.
It's a life sentence. Yeah, and he's making these calls back to his girlfriend, who's supposed to be coming up to join him in a few months, but it remains to be seen how committed she is to that idea.
Coming up with the things that stand in the way of Jeff Cooper. You use everyday events to make that happen, and to me that brings us even closer to the story, to keep us viewing what's happening.
Yeah, we tried to capture, all these little idiosyncratic moments from work and from life and put those into this extreme, harsh, alien environment of Mars.
Have you talked to any astronauts yet? Because I've been blessed to talk with a lot of astronauts that are very excited about doing something on Mars. And then when I watch, Fired on Mars on HBO, I sit there and I think, I wonder if the astronauts feel the same way.
We haven't had the privilege of talking to any astronauts yet, but I'd love to hear what they think about the whole thing.
They probably have a lot of notes.
They'll sit down with you going, okay, guys, let's talk about what's happening here.
Exactly.
We've all had those moments where we get canned. I mean, I live in radio. We just moved to another town, and we start all over again. For Jeff Cooper to go through this process. I love the anxiety level that you give him, but at the same time, it's a learning tool for many of us out here on this real planet that we're living now. It's like, okay, Jeff's going to put it together. We got to put it together too.
Yeah, totally. You never know what's around the corner. It used to be sort of, I think, in the old days that you would start a job when you're 25 and you were there until you're 65, and now it's a lot shorter than that. You bounce from one thing to the next.
One planet to another.
Do you feel like that you've reinvented something with this idea? Because it's just unlike anything else that's on TV, and kudos to HBO for letting you guys put this up on their platform.
Yeah, I think we drew inspiration from a lot of different places, like, Mike Judge with Office Space and King of the Hill, and we tried to mix that workplace type of comedy with a more sci-fi angle, and so hopefully it's something novel.
What do you see happening with the show? I know we're going to get through season number 1, but do you see it maybe, I mean, many things happen. Things become movies. They become maybe an hour and a half and things like that when it comes to shows like this.
Well, the way we put it together was almost like one long movie. So it's very serialized, and there's a lot of kind of plot twists and turns. And so I feel like we're kind of splitting the difference there. And hopefully we get to do a second season, because we've got a long, list of places we want to go with this thing. Is
it going to be season 1 or season 2 when you start unveiling merchandise that we can wear on T-shirts or little figurines?
Hopefully real soon. We'll see.
Yeah, because it has that staying power about it. It's got something, like you said, Jeff is a piece of every one of us.
Yeah, we're going to set up, after this call, we're going to set up a cafe press and print some T-shirts.
Give Jeff Cooper the power of the podcast up there as well. Have him do some podcasts and then send him back to the earth about what life is like on Mars. And
that's just what we all need.
So away from all of the excitement of Fired on Mars on HBO, what do you guys do in the everyday world? I mean, I know this is a huge project, but creative minds are constantly creating.
This was a long process. We were pretty much
dominated our lives, a lot of our lives for the past 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
Yep.
So not a lot has happened outside of that.
The beauty and the curse of animation is that you get to design an entire world from the ground up, but the curse of it is you have to design a world from the ground up. So every last drawing and detail, has to be created. And it's an interesting process. It's a giant collaboration, and trying to get everyone on the same page and keep them on it is really, really something.
Well, I'm so glad that you guys have done this, and I can't wait until we can all start talking about it on social media, and we can all have our journeys and experiences with Fired on Mars. Please come back to this show anytime in the future. The door is always going to be open for the two of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Be brilliant, you guys.
Thank you.
Take care. Thank you.